On the first day of Musemas, my podcast gave to me A Christmas Carol, 1999, directed by David Jones.
This one had Sir Patrick Stewart.
It did have
Sir Scrooge.
which is why it immediately made the list.
Yeah. And I would argue the reason it's first is because it's been the most faithful adaptation of all of them, though we didn't get one scene.
Yes, we didn't get seeing the ex.
Yeah, we didn't get to see her and her happy family.
I don't know. Have we ever gotten an adaptation? Okay,
No,
okay.
not a single adaptation's put that one in there.
No, they don't think it's important to show that she made the right call, made off like a bandit in her life.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Musemas.
Welcome back to Musemas, everybody. We've been
Here.
talking about it. I've been plugging it. You better believe we are back, and it feels good. It's cozy.
It's cozy. I love that it's cozy because honestly, going through, listening, and editing the episodes that have led up to the end of the season and starting Muses, threat is the word I would put to the way you pitch me. You've been threatening it.
It's
coming. Watch your backs.
It's coming. You better believe it. It's here. It's here now.
Now, I posted a meme a couple days ago that really captured the it's a threat. It's here now. Welcome. So yeah. You should know this, listener, but maybe you don't. Maybe because you just recently started listening to us, haven't gone through the back catalog of what's on the main feed, and are like, what is this? Well, I'll tell you. Last year, DJ discovered we really like A Christmas Carol.
Well, last year we decided, hey, what would be super fun is if for December we do 12 episodes talking about retellings of like some Christmas story.
We decided that because we like A Christmas Carol, and then
I figured that we chose it because, like, here's the thing: I enjoyed A Christmas Carol, but I didn't realize how actually fucking god tier it is until like last year when we like did pick it out.
This is true. I like it
because it was the way that I always saw it. Was like, yeah, we'll decide. Let's do it on A Christmas Carol this year, and then it kind of like floated the idea of maybe doing something next year, and then we looked and like, wow, there's actually
so many.
There's just so
many Christmas Carols.
So many Christmas carols. So like, yeah, let's just keep running this. But yeah, after listening to it, I'm like, no, this is actually the best Christmas story of all time.
Dickens' Oh Christmas Carol is like, it slaps so hard. It hits that secular
holly jolly, baby.
Holly jolly Christmas vibes, goodwill towards mankind. Yeah, giving of yourself to others, serving your community. I love it. We are not going to go over the original short story.
No. If you want to hear that,
double back last December. That episode's on the main feed. You can just listen to it right now.
That is free, much like this one is. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you
so much
for
love
listening.
You so much.
I know. Yesterday was our season finale, and now here we are.
Here we are talking about
some hiatus we have.
I know, right? Crazy.
So, DJ, it's definitely, I would say, a faithful adaptation in a lot of ways. Did you like this movie?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
That's because I like A Christmas Carol.
Well, I like A Christmas Carol too.
I like A Christmas Carol, and yeah, it's been the most faithful because it has one of like a really important aspect as to the time.
It does. It's just the time thing. I watched it
it's like it's the strangest thing because it's literally one line that showcases the time like aspect of it all. Where it's instead of Jacob Marley, when like almost every adaptation that like everybody has seen, it's you'll be visited by 3 ghosts tonight.
Yeah.
It's you will be visited by 3 ghosts, one at the stroke of midnight tonight, one at the stroke of midnight the next night, and one at 1 in the morning the night following. And it's just they changed that line, and it like undermines a great portion of like part of why Ebenezer feels like he needed to change right then.
Yeah, it is. That is. So that's a super fun, I think, trivia thing. If you ever find yourself in like a pub trivia, and the question is in very specifically, I think you have to because it has to be specifically the question regarding the novella. And if it asks how many ghosts visited Scrooge on Christmas, the answer is 1. Wait.
The answer is 1. Ghost of Christmas Past visited him at
the stroke of midnight on Christmas Eve, which is the morning of Christmas Day.
And Ghost of Christmas Present visited him at midnight on the 26th. And if I remember correctly, the future was supposed to visit him an hour after that.
Oh, I thought it was midnight each.
No, it was 1 a.m. after. Like I need to listen to the original story. I meant to do that today, but I forgot.
But I can find it.
I'm pretty sure Christmas Yet to Come was set to visit him an hour after Christmas Present.
Oh, okay.
That or it was 1:00 the next day.
Yeah, it was, and 1:00 the next day would have been the 26th still?
I have no idea. That's why, like, I
Shout out to Project Gutenberg, who provides a text. I'm just looking. Sorry, scrolling through, and just the illustration of Marley's ghost just striding into the room, back totally straight. Like, oh, it's so good.
I will say this Marley was also kind of silly. His facial expressions, he's just like, oh, in a constant, like real hard frown with frozen eyebrows and eyes, and it was weird.
Got to be in prosthetics, right? He had to be in prosthetics.
I think he was actually doing that with his face.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think when you get that old, you can make that face.
That's just your face got stuck that way.
Motherfucker looking like Walter from Jeff Dunham's set, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I found it. You will be haunted by 3 ghosts without... okay, I forgot this line, which this is not something they add, because it's so funny. Here's the thing about, if you don't know this about The Christmas Carol, and again, we're not going to talk about the original text, but I'm going to tell you right now, y'all, it's so funny.
It's a little silly.
It's so funny. Okay, like this. So Marley is telling Scrooge about, like, hey, these chains are what
I got
made.
you a chance to change.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a chance to not have my fates.
It's like, you've always been a good friend to me.
Yep, you've always been a good friend to me. You will be visited by 3 you will be haunted by 3 spirits. Is that the chance you mentioned, Jacob? It is. I think I'd rather not.
I mean, that was in this one.
I missed it then.
Oh, yeah, because I clocked it. I'm like, Sir Patrick Stewart's just a fucking weird-ass dude to say something like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1. Expect the second the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased
That's
to
what
vibrate.
it was. Okay.
So, Ghosts of Christmas, past and present, both come at 1 in the morning on Christmas Day and then the day after
26.
Christmas. And the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come shows up at midnight as it goes between 26th to 27th. Yeah. So he is only ever visited by 1 ghost a day.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. This is, I think, major props for keeping that. Did you want to elaborate on why that is so important?
It's important because it's like we get to see Christmas past, and it shows him, you know, the past Christmas Eves that he's had, and none of them have been all too great. Actually, that's not true.
No. He had some kick-ass.
He had some great ones. No. One of them, the one that we saw that wasn't so great was he was a child and his father had sent him away.
Mm-hmm.
And one year, his father sent his his sister to come get him, to come back permanently. Mm-hmm. And then the next one we see is the Fezziwig, which is fucking awesome.
I love Fezziwigs. It's so
right?
good. This Fezziwig maybe was my favorite
this
Fezziwig
rules.
I am counting the Muppet one. I'm so sorry. Yeah, come at me. I think everything about the Muppet one is wrong. But this
rules,
party
dude.
it just was so fun, and the Fezziwigs and the couple were just so
they were
jovial,
so
and they were
cute,
so and they were
too.
so cute. And the kid, the son, who I don't know if exists in the book, has the same pompadour.
Oh yeah.
No, this party.
All the daughters looking almost like the mother too. It's so
they're
great.
Just such a fun family. Okay, but we're not talking about the Fezziwig party here. We're talking about why it matters that.
Yeah. And it's to show that, like, hey, this is what you were raised on, and we don't understand. Like, we're gonna go see as to like why you became the way you are now. Even when these are the past Christmas Eves, you had everybody around you who loved and celebrated with you, not just like near you, with you. You celebrated them there too. And then his love, his fiance.
They were engaged for a long time.
Then we get to see her breaking up
because he's become consumed with money, and he genuinely doesn't love her anymore.
Yeah. And that was tragic. And then we don't get to see her as she's just, actually chilling.
Yeah, we get the last, like, Christmas past is literally, we see the night Jacob Marley dies. And again, I'm going to insist that we're not going to talk about the novel, but here's the thing. It's the short story, but here's the thing. The Jacob Marley dies 7 years before the start before he visits Scrooge as a ghost. And so we get the visit. The last Christmas past moment is actually visiting her home. And we see she is married. She has a bunch of kids. So actually, Scrooge first sees her eldest daughter, who looks just like her when she broke up with him. And then her husband comes in, and he's like, oh, do you remember
Ebenezer?
Ebenezer. She's like, oh, yes, I do. She's like, well, his partner died today. Oh, it's so sad. Like, yeah, I walked by his office. He's still in there working. was not by his friend's side when he passed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, she was like, yeah, I dodged a bullet. Woo, my life is so good. Yeah,
So
we're not
rough.
rich, but we are comfortable, and I am happy. And I just,
Right.
there's not a single version that includes.
No, it includes that scene. And it is rough because I do think it's important to show, like, Ebenezer did miss out on this.
He missed out on this. And I love how no, pinning it. We're still talking about why it's important to the theme that the ghosts come on different nights.
Yeah. And then the next one is to show, well, now it's the 26th. Christmas Day is past, and what we're about to see are events that Scrooge has missed. Right? And we see the Cratchits and their just small, quaint little dinner. And
But
just
they're
like
so
they're still
happy.
so happy together, and like Scrooge also sees that.
Cratchit even toasts him.
Yeah, toasts to him, but his wife is just not having. He's like, fuck this guy.
Founder of the feast. I'm sorry. I'm the founder of this feast.
No, dude, no. But like even still, Bob Cratchit still has a lot of respect for him, even though like his wife is like, no,
he doesn't deserve.
Yeah, straight up. And then he goes to see his nephew, who is also having like a pretty nice little dinner.
Party. He's having a Christmas party.
He's having a Christmas party
real
with like
ass
his
Victorian
friends,
Christmas party.
and they're just like having a good time and talking about Scrooge. And like, when they get on to the topic of Scrooge, it's like, why do you like invite him every year, and why do you like actually? Why won't you ever say a bad name to him? It's like, well, because my mother loved him.
Yeah,
and whoever my mother loved has to have a good heart.
Yeah, I think Fred, the nephew, does like mock Scrooge initially. That was taken out of this. They didn't do where he's doing the game. It's like, oh, the stubbornness, the most mean-spirited animal in all of all of London. And they're like, it's Scrooge. They really made Fred seem like
Dude, Fred's awesome.
Fred's awesome in this. Fred's awesome in this. So then he sees that. And
Fred's awesome in general, but in this one, Fred's a saint.
No, I think Fred's great in every single one of them. This one, I definitely like clocked that they like took out the mocking of Scrooge more, and they like swapped some scenes around, and But I actually liked that pacing, that plotting better. So then we get Christmas Future, which takes place the 27th.
Yeah. Well, I also personally find it important that he actually wanted to stay and look at the games and kind of partly participate as much as he could, being this visage that he is, just kind of like enjoying the environment and like
he's so happy there. But no, let's talk about that when we talk about the thing. We're trying to get through why it matters
and
that
then
it's on different
Christmas
nights.
Future comes along, or yet to come as like it is originally, comes along and shows nobody actually loves him. People who found him dead didn't give a shit that he was dead, took his shit around him. The Cratchits are also suffering because Tiny Tim is gone. And there's just a lonely gravestone that's got nothing on it except for his name. And
none of the businessmen even care to come to the funeral unless maybe there'll be lunch. There's one couple that has any sort of emotion regarding this loss, and they are relieved he's dead because they owed money and he was gonna basically foreclose on their house. And they're like,
thank God.
Yeah, thank God. It's like, who's gonna pick up the loan? It doesn't. Who's gonna pick up our debt? It doesn't matter. Whoever will get it, it'll be enough time for us to actually. So because it's like you get this, these people are capable. Like they will be able to pay. They've just like, we need another week to pay, and Scrooge would have been like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah.
But now they're like, we have another couple weeks to pay. Whoever gets it, we'll be able to pay it. It'll be fine. And they're like happy he's dead. Because that's how terrible he was in life.
Yeah, he was not a good person, and just showing all of these, and I think all of them combined together just really show that Scrooge has impacted people's lives in probably the worst way possible, even though his upbringing and the people around him were great.
Yeah, he doesn't have an explicitly no. Okay, and then he wakes up and it's Christmas Day and he hasn't missed
Christmas
it,
Day.
and that's why it matters.
Yeah, that's why because the line, "Hey, what day is it?" is in fucking every single adaptation. But it doesn't make any sense when you don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like they all visited in one night, even though like
it's time wonkiness.
Yeah, it's like they all visited in one night, but when he says what day is it, they did it all in one night. Of course, they could do it all in one night. They're ghosts.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense if he knew they were going to do it all in one night.
Yeah.
That needs to be in three, like over the course of 3 nights.
Yeah.
So that he is actually truly relieved and is like, I can actually make a difference in people's Christmas day.
Night. Yeah, not night. Now.
Yeah, right now,
that's just,
on Christmas Day, I can give the Cratchits a wonderful turkey. I can visit my nephew and actually go to his party that he invited me to. And on the next day, I can see Cratchit and give him a raise and properly take care of him and his family for the work that he has done for me.
Yeah, no, and I think I think it also reflects, because there's no reason he couldn't have done that the 27th. He comes into work, Cratchit's like, where were you yesterday, sir? But he's there. He
In a small coma, Cratchit.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's talk about how much money you need to make and how we want to make sure your kid doesn't die.
But I think if he didn't get the option to do that on Christmas Day, I doubt he would have actually changed truly.
See, I don't know. I'd like to believe that he would have changed.
Yeah,
regardless. But I also, what I'd like to think is that the spirits knew he was sincere when he tells yet to come, I can change, please let me change, please give me the chance, please give me the chance. So it's not just like, okay, man, here's your chance to, because he could have treated Cratchit better the next day, he could have gone to Fred's the next day and been like, but getting it to be on Christmas where he had the knowledge of what he could do for these people that would be most impactful immediately, and he took it.
Yeah.
And he ran with it. And I think that's the spirits giving him the opportunity to make the most impact and a gift to him. Like, we believe you, so make it count.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. So that's why this adaptation gets major points up at the top, because it does the time travel thing.
It's a time thing. The only other one that did that was the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah! It's wild. A Christmas Carol is a time travel thing, and not just because the ghosts are zooming him back and forth. Scrooge literally moves through time.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
This adaptation was fun. I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot. I think
I didn't like how Past looked. Past looked a little funky.
Past looked honestly kind of how it's described, just weird.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think this is, as terms of the adaptations of getting what the Ghost of Christmas Past looks like, I think this is the most spot off one, and it does end with him shoving the hat on him to put the light out, which is very funny.
Yeah.
And as they go through, I noticed that Past looks less translucent the more they're going through the memories and getting closer and closer to the present.
Yeah.
And becoming a more concrete presence around Scrooge. And then at the end, when they're back at the house, he's all translucent and ghosty again. And I thought that was an interesting visual. Oh, and also how they traveled through the past. And usually they'll jump out the window.
Those transitions were awesome.
Yeah, when they'll usually jump out the window and fly and land somewhere. Instead, Scrooge takes the ghost's hand, and the
scene around them.
The scene around them, you see leaves and snow rush across the ground, and all of a sudden they're outside. And I thought that was
the transitions for Past were really good.
Mm-hmm. I also want to give this 1 point because it actually has the sister Fran.
Yeah, she
often gets cut.
Yeah, it's often just school day and then Fezziwig.
Yeah, what's okay with it, and I think you could definitely tell that the director, whoever wrote the adaptation, that's the thing that bothers them, because they went really, really hard on the
Fran lines.
Not just Fran's line, but the whole Fred, your nephew, is your sister's son.
Yeah.
And because that line Fred has about when his wife asks, why do you still try so hard? He's like, well, because my mother loved him, and anyone she loved must have had a good heart. That's not from the novel.
Yeah.
That's very much for this one, for someone, whoever, it's a pet peeve. They're like, no, the sister is so important. He loved his sister so much. She's the one that wanted him to come home over and over again. It talks about how the father sent him away after the mother died, and he couldn't bear to look at Scrooge. I don't know if that's from the original short story. I don't remember
think so
it.
Either.
I think the dad was just kind of a jerk, but now he's so much nicer. So they not only, and so it's you're supposed to get two. And it's seeing him. It's your entire childhood wasn't this. Yeah, your dad sucked, but he got better. Shockingly,
he got better,
a kinder
and
man.
Your sister came to get you when he
sister,
did.
You get that she asked again and again and again, "Can my brother come home?" and never stopped asking, "Can my brother come home?" And she brought him home. And so they really, after they see the Fred's party, Ghost of Christmas Present is that's your sister's kid, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe you're being so shitty to your sister's kid, going to his party. You suck. I thought you loved your sister.
Sometimes I forget that she is my sister's kid.
Yeah. And I think that also because he notes that his sister died very young after giving birth to Fred. Probably not during childbirth, I don't think, but actually maybe due to complications of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. It's fucking like 1800.
There's one adaptation, I can't remember which one of the live action ones from last year, where that was explicitly what happened. She died Christmas Day or something, and he wouldn't even pick up the baby. So I'm not sure if it's quite that. I think maybe she lived a little longer, but they talks about how when Scrooge's mother died, the father couldn't bear to look at Scrooge and sent him away because it hurt so much. And so this adaptation is demonstrating that he is doing the same thing to Fred. To Fred. I was calling him Frank. To Fred, because it probably started out with, I can't bear to be around you because you remind me of my sister who is gone. And now it just became a habit where I don't like seeing you.
Yeah, it's very rough.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they changed. Usually the party starts and they're eating and there's games and Scrooge is like wanting to engage with it and stuff, and then we get to the part where they're playing a game and Fred is making fun of him and is like, well, a toast to him then. If he doesn't want to hang out with us, that's his loss. And that's when he wants to leave. They do the kind of mockery of Scrooge first, and then he starts to leave, and then he hears them playing games. I loved Scrooge being like, games spirits.
I remember in the novella, he stuck around for like the whole night for the games, at the very least for as long as he could. Even like he never like wanted to leave.
That's right. I think that's other adaptations where
he had to be dragged away by Present because Present's fucking dying.
Yeah, I think that's it. So this one, yeah, you're right. Thank you. I forgot. He usually stays until Present is like, no, we need to leave because I'm dying.
Yeah, I have things I need to do.
But this one he leaves, and then when they're leaving, like, no games, spirit games. So they come back and the games are wonderful. And then they're leaving again, and he hears someone playing. He's like, wait, no, spirit. That was my sister's favorite song. And it's Fred's wife is playing this song. And so they stay again. And I think that was a very good change. I think it made that whole sequence feel really nice.
Yeah.
Now, before this, we're at the Cratchits. And I'd just like to say, we spent too long at the Cratchits' house.
We're at the Cratchits' house.
It's too long at the Cratchits' house. Like,
yeah.
The goose, and then I'm like waiting.
The figgy pudding.
What was the figgy pudding about? Why
that was added? I'm like, why?
Why did we do the figgy pudding? And then,
maybe it's because we actually don't know how much work it goes to make that kind of figgy pudding, and it might be because
I've seen it on Great British Bake Off. I understand how hard she works.
So it's probably that to show this hardship, and they get a very small portion.
They're all so happy,
and everybody's stoked about it.
Saw that with the goose already.
Yeah.
We know she worked all day on it. We know she like budgeted and spent and got it at the right time to get a good deal. And they're all so happy and excited. Mother, it looks delicious. Oh, it's the biggest goose I've ever seen, and we know it's a small goose. We, the audience, know, but the family is so grateful for what they have and so happy and appreciative, and I love it. And then I'm waiting to the founder of the feast. Nope, skip it. Okay, figgy pudding. Founder of the feast. No, skip it. Okay, drinks around the fire. Now founder of the feast. And I'm like, this took too.
So
I think in my
ridiculous.
notes, I literally say, oh, we're not going to do founder of. Oh, here it is. And then we have tiny fucking Tim singing because we have to call back to that caroler at the top of the movie.
I will say that I actually did like this addition to the sequence as a whole, because it did show that like, well, we also had the Union Workhouses singing this and the prison singing this, right? Like, granted, yeah, you're saying that like, oh, if these are open, people can go to it. Well, people are there. People are doing things with this.
It was just the prison we saw, because we saw a lighthouse and then a ship and then.
I mean, the miners. I imagine that there were Union workhouses that those miners are either going to or coming from.
Oh, I guess I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
I think because the lighthouse and the ship threw me for a loop. I will admit.
It was a little weird. It was a little strange, but it was. I like that because I'm like, oh, that's a neat little callback to show that these places people are at the very least here and celebrating Christmas.
Yeah, still they even at these places that Scrooge are like, oh, they're terrible. We do get the other line that I will give it points is when the collectors are coming to raise money for the poor, new in town. Don't have a clue.
Yeah.
They talk to Fred. Fred doesn't even warn him.
Yeah, Fred's like,
he just got chewed out for inviting his uncle to have a free dinner at his house, and now he's want to watch these two nice men go ask him to give them money to give to the poor. Fred does nothing.
Yeah, he's like, he'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, they say, oh, well, don't you have? Are there no workhouses or prisons? There are, but people would rather die than go there. Well, if they're going to die, they better do it and decrease the surplus population.
Yeah.
So cold.
It is just a good line.
Good line. Oh,
good, like, kind of villain line.
Yeah. No, and that's another thing I thought was weird. Like, doubling down on the movie does a weird thing where it, like, doubles down. Like, the Cratchits are such a lovely family. They don't have much, but they love each other dearly. They do the Martha thing. Sorry, I'm doubling back. The thing where the oldest daughter gets there in time for Christmas, and then they hide her. So when Cratchit comes home, he thinks she's not there and is upset for a minute, or just sad that she'll miss Christmas, and then she pops out. I love that one too, because and then we with the figgy pudding and the toast, like really tripling down on like the Cratchits.
They did just too much to show how much this family cares and loves for each other and is appreciative for what they have. And like, I understand that. I didn't need the figgy pudding.
Yeah, I didn't need this.
We can cut the figgy pudding.
We can cut the toast at the fire. That's supposed to happen at the table.
Yeah.
And then they think they did the same thing with really trying to double down on what an asshole Scrooge is, where the kids are caroling. And one, like, well, of course, the littlest, cutest boy is like, I'm going to go to Scrooge's. And, like, runs over there and starts singing. And Ebenezer gets pissed and flings open the door and has his cane up like he's about to hit the kid.
Oh, that wasn't even a cane. That was just a small stick he had at his
I missed it. I thought it was
desk.
a cane.
No, he grabbed it. It was like a stick about like a foot and a half long. He's like,
is it for beating carols with? What
I
is
guess.
It for,
I don't know what it's
Scrooge?
for. It's just on his desk.
So, yeah, and it's like, just, you look at this monster. It's like, I know that
we know he's an
just
asshole.
said people in need should die.
Yeah, we know he's an asshole.
So, and then it was weird because they did the pacing weird in the Cratchit house when he sees Tiny Tim and realizes he's sick and he's like, oh, is he going to be okay? Christmas present throws back at him. Well, if he should just die and decrease the surplus population. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And I think they took too long to hit that line because he doesn't say it until closer to the end. And it's like, no. And Scrooge has already expressed concern for Tiny Tim a couple of times. And I'm like, no, it needs to come immediately.
Here's the thing. Scrooge like, does that boy live? And then Christmas present says, I see a future of like a cane. Mm-hmm. And then Scrooge's like, well, if I change something, will that boy live? And then like he says that line. I'm like, that's just, you should flop that order.
Yeah, that's not
Switch
right.
It around.
Yeah, no. Because it's...
Make him feel like shit for that line and then have him express more concern because he realizes that line was shitty.
Yeah, it's like, well, if I change... And he's not supposed to... I think it's too early for Scrooge to think about how he can change to help others. Like, I think this is just him learning, like, actually getting a view of the world.
Yeah.
That way he is impacting with his behavior now. And I don't think he's hit the point where he's thinking about, well, could I change? He's just seeing as it is.
Yeah.
Another thing this one does have, though... These scary ass children underneath Christmas present smokes.
Yeah, we get that.
Want and ignorance.
Man. Want and ignorance. They just put these kids who are like the skinniest children you've probably seen in a minute. They put like just the dirtiest makeup with like sunken in eyes.
Just really prosthetic. They're like clawed fingers.
They look like Meth Baby from that commercial. Dude.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's symbolism. It's symbolism for the way humanity fails each other when they don't care for one another.
Yeah.
You get it? You get the symbolism? Let me scream it at you as I, Christmas present, die.
Yeah, literally.
It's so... Listen, I get Christmas Yet to Come is usually the Grim Reaper and is very spooky. Nothing is scarier than that scene. I don't know why they keep, adaptations keep trying to make Yet to Come the scariest moment. That is the scariest. The reality of the present and what is happening now is scarier than what may be in the future. That is scary.
Yeah. I actually really liked this Yet to Come. This Yet to Come was like visually cool.
See, I thought when Yet to Come first appears, it's like has just shifted from Christmas present to future, and Scrooge runs right into it, and it's this tall silhouette and a cloak with glowing eyes. And when it reaches a hand out, it is just like a gnarled hand, but it's a human hand. It's not a skeleton hand. And I thought that looked cool. And then you see it in daylights sitting there behind Scrooge and other scenes, and it is the goofiest ass thing. It's just so still. It looks like the fucking. Let me describe it. I can't describe it. Okay, imagine you took a laundry basket. You took a laundry basket and you put it basket face out, like you were going to throw something into it level with the ground. And then you put a piece, you put a pizza box on top of it, jutting out just a little bit, and you taped it out so it sticks out a little farther than the opening of the basket. And then you draped black cloth and tulle over it. That is what it looks like.
It looks like this is a pull. If you guys have ever heard of like the creepy Mario Galaxy thing,
yes,
like the
yes,
Easter egg thing that's like off in the distance and like with the glowing eyes with the shadows.
Yes,
so that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like when you first see it, but I don't think it still looks that creepy when you're seeing it.
No, it doesn't look that creepy, but it still just looks like that.
It does look like that. Yeah, it looks like that.
Very like 10 feet tall, and just this draped figure.
Yeah, and I like that it's not a skeleton. I like that it has like a human hand. I find that more eerie. The glowing eyes were cool. Right at
this arthritis-riddled 84-year-old woman's hand.
Yeah, exactly that. At the end of the sequence, when Scrooge is going like begging at the side of his grave, like, oh, is there still a chance? Can I change? Can I change? The lights aren't lit up anymore. Yeah, I think it looked scariest when we didn't get a good look at the whole thing and it was like misty and dark, because on a handful of scenes where it's like bright and you're at like the Cratchit's house or something and you just see it sitting up
it's just there.
like,
it's just
so
chilling.
Still, and you're like, that's not a person.
That's goofy.
That's a scarecrow.
It looked a little silly in some of the scenes, but I still liked its design.
Yeah, I think, I was like, oh, that's a good one. And then in other scenes, I was like, never mind. But yeah, the first is very impactful first shot. This one didn't quite send Scrooge to hell, but it does send him into his own grave, where he lands on top of his own dead body that proceeds to fall through the earth with him clutching onto it.
Yeah, and then he wakes up clutching onto his bed sheets.
Always
good. Or his bed curtains.
Bed curtains. Always a good.
Yeah.
Always a good transition. Yeah. As far as adaptations go, I think it does really capture a lot of like what makes A Christmas Carol
A Christmas
Carol. And then at the end he has, boy, what day is it? Go fetch the man. Here's the goose. Deliver the goose. Oh, right. You can't walk here. Here's more money for a cab.
Yeah.
And then he goes to,
and it's
and
nice.
Don't tell him who sent it.
Yeah, it's nice because it doesn't end off with him just going to the Cratchits with a bunch of fucking presents and being like, here's like, I'm changed now. And I'm like, no, I don't want
like it.
that.
Because it's like you are really encroaching on your employee's time with his family. Like, when Scrooge does that, it makes it all about
the point.
him,
I'm like, I just don't want that, dude. I'm tired of it. I like the ending that we normally, that like is written. Because
then he should go to Fred's.
He goes to Fred's because that's important. He goes to his nephew's house.
Yeah.
For Christmas, for the Christmas party, instead of going to the Cratchits.
Spending time with his family, who also, he was invited to Fred's. He is noteworthy, not invited to the Cratchits, but sending the goose, and then the next day...
Turkey.
Was it a turkey?
It's a turkey in this one, at least.
Sending the turkey, very good, and... The next day when Cratchit comes to work, he's like, oh, you're late. I have no choice but to raise your salary. And Cratchit looks so scared. Like, he's grabbed a fire poker. He's ready because Scrooge is just on him.
Yeah.
It's very...
Scrooge was like coming up to him like a little quick. And so he like grabs a fire poker to defend himself. And he's like, raise your pay. And he's like,
yeah, no, it's fine. And we're going to sit down and talk about your affairs and how to take care of your family.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's great. I like when he goes to Fred's, he sees Fred's and apologizes to him and then apologizes to his wife.
Yeah.
It's really sweet.
So good.
It's like, will you have me?
Yeah. She's like, of course. Welcome, Uncle Scrooge. I love it.
Very sweet.
Mm-hmm. And here's the one thing. And I think this just because it comes from the Mickey Mouse version. I do think that Cratchit should be the partner. Like, I still feel like that's what needs to be done.
I mean, I guess I don't know how long Cratchit's been working with him.
I don't know either.
Right, because it's a whole thing. Maybe it's like it's a start with raising your salary, giving him probably a little more responsibility, see if he's actually worthy of being partner.
Could he do the partner? Yeah, I
because
guess
you know Scrooge hasn't actually given him any real responsibility in this fucking company. He's a clerk. He's a bookkeeper. He's not doing anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe this is the path to
partnership
and helping his family economically in the long run. Because honestly, Scrooge could die in January. We don't know. This is a very old man. This is Victorian times.
If I'm being honest, every time future yet to come, like, who gets his money? His fucking nephew?
I don't know, but what if he didn't put it in the will?
I guess I don't know how 1800s UK death works, but you always hear the story, like they're fake, granted.
Yeah.
The stories of like, oh, an estranged uncle died and left a bunch of money and I'm his next of kin, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I liked it a lot. And then I also like how at the end, okay, so Tiny Tim says, God bless us everyone during the Cratchit sequence, and that's some fucking bullshit. No. Because then they have him say it again at the end.
Yeah.
And that's some fucking bullshit. One time.
If I'm going to be honest, I just don't like the Tiny Tim character.
I don't like Tiny Tim either.
I'm getting to the point where like, I'm just sick of this. I'm like,
is it because he
another
has
pull?
no
I'm with
character?
William Johnson on this. Shut the hell up, Tiny Tim. You're not helping.
I think, yeah, the Tiny Tim thing is it because he's the same character over and over again? We never see anybody take creative liberties with Tiny Tim.
Probably, but it's also just like, he's just a dying kid. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't die. It says
he doesn't die.
Tiny Tim, who did not die.
Yeah, Fred comes in as the narration at the very end.
I really liked that. Yeah, that
fun.
last sequence is done by Fred.
Yeah.
And I really like that you get to see a following Christmas where Ebenezer is at his house, and his house is clean, and he's in clothing that is like bright and nice and new, because also like this man is very wealthy and also a miser. He doesn't spend money on his house or on himself.
Yeah, obviously we saw his house when he first started.
It's Marley's house he moved into.
Yeah, and it's fucked.
Yeah, it's so dusty because he doesn't pay anybody to keep it, and he doesn't spend the time on it because he's always at work. I also love how he like always to everything he dunks on like Fred, like, oh, what's a Merry Christmas? You're poor, and Fred is always nicer dressed than Scrooge. Like,
and Fred's also
is this
like
what being poor is. I saw his house.
I mean, shit, he's Bennett poor, dude.
Yeah, like yeah, right, yeah, exactly. That's the Bennett family poor. Yeah, they don't own Pemberley, but
Oh, he still owns a house.
yeah, it's pretty.
He's
nice.
well dressed.
Yeah.
He's got like maids and shit, you know.
Yeah, the house is pretty. He's got lots of friends who want to come over and party.
Yeah.
But I like that. So we see another Christmas, and we see the Cratchit family coming to Scrooge's house to celebrate with him. Like, I liked that a whole lot. Like, I felt that was a very charming way to like cement that genuinely, truly, Scrooge is a changed person who people want to be around now.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, well, thank God he's not an asshole anymore and that he pays me well, but actually is like a positive influence on the people around him, so much so that they want to spend more time with him.
Yeah.
And I like that very much.
It's very sweet. I definitely enjoyed this adaptation of A Christmas Carol.
I think, well, I definitely thought Marley was like not enough for me. I need the ghost to just be a little unhinged, and this Marley was just too whatever.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think
mean, is it funny that he appears in the different little mosaics in the fireplace before walking through the door?
Dude,
yes.
he's just fucking with him the whole time before he shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just the once on the door knocker.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, now I'm in this
and that
mosaic.
door knocker doesn't even look like anything. Usually it has a shape of a lion or something.
It's supposed to be a lion.
And it just looks like a seashell.
Yeah, it's just like really this standard ass door knocker.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, but also, this is just for like, this house was crazy. That curved door to his bedroom.
What is that?
I've never
Why
seen
like
anything like that, dude. What the
Wild.
fuck?
Why? Yeah, I don't know. I think I liked the plot very much. And I think the settings were all interesting enough. Nothing that was particularly memorable. I did like Fred's house quite a bit. I think there's something about that sequence. And what's the one guy at the party?
Bennett.
No, not Bennett.
Well, which one?
So not Mr. Bennett. The guy at the party.
Which guy at the party?
Toffer?
The dude who was just kind of a fiend for that one girl.
Yeah, he's
I think it was Toffer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the guy's name was Toffer Bennett.
Oh, right, because she just says Mr. Bennett, and he's like, well, you can call me.
The people I like call me Toffer.
Yeah. I have, Mr. Toffer is smooth.
Dude, that guy was awesome.
The thing about it is,
He's cheating.
Yeah. I feel like this character very easily could have been a creep, but the chick he's flirting with is 100% into
so
him.
Into it.
So like, so he's just smooth actually.
Yeah.
Hey, why did he stick a hot poker in the punch?
I don't. Maybe that's something with.
What game is this?
I maybe that's just something for the I don't know what that was that they drank. I don't think that was a game. Because it seemed like, would you do the honors?
Yeah,
and so it seemed like maybe it was some tradition thing.
Yeah, I like the party a lot, but I think aside from like the text, like the script itself, I didn't really feel super impacted by this one. Even with it being Sir Patrick Stewart, I don't know. Like you can't
I liked
compare it to Michael Caine, but if I were to compare it to Michael Caine, I would say it's not Michael Caine as Scrooge.
I liked it. I will say it's been the most faithful adaptation. That doesn't mean it's my favorite.
Yeah. I think
I think that might still go to Jim Carrey, but that's
that
one's
the
so good. But
ugliest mess
I
of all
love-
time. But
I love that
every
style.
character has a vibe.
I love that art style.
Yeah, I think
though.
my thing is I don't think anybody really came with a vibe.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Even Christmas Present was like he was Christmas Present in like the most basic way.
Yeah, I think maybe that was his direction, is they were told to play it like more realistic, rather than bombastic. Like a lot of adaptations, we get these characters who are incredibly bombastic, and so I felt like everyone was it was a little undertone, a little safe. Yeah, I think it was trying to be.
It's trying to be a faithful adaptation
and not give you any room to make fun of it.
Yeah,
and I think it's like, but it's
it succeeded.
It succeeded. I think it was fine. I wouldn't want to watch it again.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think if you're just wanting to, someone tells you to read it and you say no, you could watch this one and it would be fine. And I think, as you said, DJ, it gets to a lot of like the vibes of what the narrative is actually trying to tell with a Christmas
all the
Carol.
very main shit that you need to know for a Christmas Carol. It's here.
Yeah, it's here. But I was because I like Patrick Stewart. I was just hoping for a little bit more gravitas, and I think he just played it a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like I was looking for a little bit more Charles Xavier. I'll be super fucking honest. A little bit more Captain Picard, a little bit more Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, y'all should come back tomorrow.
Well,
don't come back
tomorrow.
Here.
On our Patreon, there's another free episode. When you follow us on Patreon, we will be doing Star Trek.
An episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Ooh, which one? You gotta tune in to find out. We don't usually tell you what we're doing tomorrow, but these two we picked specifically because it'll tie in, and I liked the thematic. Yeah, the Patreon now offers, it'll just be there.
It's a free tier. You just hit follow, and you'll get access to the next episode of Musemas, as well as
all the outtakes.
Yeah, the outtakes.
Yeah, recent outtakes will all be there too. Lots of things. But yeah, yes, is this just us being like, hey, come over. You're one step away from listening to the Bunker 9 bonus episodes and being a Patreon supporter.
And also, you'll get the next, after that, you'll get the next 10 episodes of
the rest of Musemas. And we've got
which are going to be coming out
daily.
There's some crazy ones. I'm
very
excited.
I think that's all we got. So we will be back tomorrow.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy holidays.